Okay, so yesterday we read how the devotees and non devotees might be seeming to be engaged in similar kind of activities, or they might be seeming to be dying in the same way, like just like leaving the body because of some ailment or by some natural cause or some natural bodily, decaying. So one might say that a devotee also dies and non-devotee also dies. Then what is the difference? Why should I be a devotee? So Prabhupada has explained it with the example of a cat very, very nicely, with this analogy that when cat catches a kitten in her mouth, and when a cat catches a mouse in her mouth, then what is their individual feeling, right? So we can understand that mouse feels really, really horrified, very scared, and he's, thinking how to save myself. And the kitten, on the other hand, he's feeling very protected, very sheltered, very loved, and he's just in the mouth of the cat, like very happily he's there, right? So similarly, Prabhupada is, preparing us for that moment, or in one sense, he's also saying that what is the essence of Krishna consciousness? It doesn't mean that devotees won't have difficulties, but the way they will handle the difficulties, the way they will perceive the difficulties will be totally different. So, Krishna consciousness means our changing our perception with uh, Krishna's vision, right? So, when we are on the deathbed, we will be feeling like a kitten, right? But otherwise, people might feel like, oh my God, I'm going to die and I'm very scared, and this thing is hurting, that thing is hurting. What will happen to my children? What will happen to my bank balance? And so many different things will be flooding in their mind at that time when they were supposed to remember the God, right? Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, 6th verse, that yam yam vapi smaran bhava tyajatyante kalevaram. Tyaja means to leave, kalevaram means body, smaran means to remember. So in whatever bhav you will remember, that bhav you will attain in your next birth, right? And then he says, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. So one who leaves his body while remembering me, he is sure to attain me. That also he says in the next verse. So this is very, very important, that what is the essence of Krishna consciousness? It is not something, artificial, or, something made up movement by Srila Prabhupada. Nothing like that. He is just trying to simplify everything for us, to give what Krishna wanted to give, right? So he's just bringing it to a very, very simple level for people of Kali Yuga to understand it. But unfortunately, many people still don't take much interest in God consciousness, because for them, God is just like, you know, just go to Him, offer something, ask for something, and come back. If you get something, oh, good, I got it. So when they are in some calamity, or when they are in some problem, they will intensely remember the God. It's not like they forget the God, but when they remember Him, and then when they get what they want, or they get relief from their problem, then they say bye bye. Okay, they don't need Him anymore. But a relationship is not like that. A true, a pure relationship is ongoing, whether it is happiness or distress, just like a friend. We share everything with our friends, right? Who are very, very close friend to us. Whether it is a happiness, whether it is a good news or a bad news, or they are suffering, whatever, because they know that here is a person, in whom I can confide completely. He will not judge me, and he will still see me as a good friend, right? So that's how our relationship needs to be with Krishna, right? People talk about, we can talk to God, but usually it is seen that they go to the God when they are in some difficulty. But Krishna is so magnanimous, he's so kind, so merciful that he says in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, he says, Chaturvidha bhajante mam, jana sukrutino arjuna, arto jigyasu artharthi jnani, jnanim cha bharatarshava. So he's saying four types of people approach me. Arto means distressed, Jigyasu means inquisitive, Artharthi means wealth seeker, and Jnani means who is after knowledge about the Supreme. And he is saying in the next verse that Udara Sarva Evete means all of these are magnanimous souls, right? Because he's so happy that no matter whatever is the reason, at least they are coming to me, which is the right thing to do. And therefore, he is thinking with gratitude about them that they are magnanimous souls. So all these things are so important. Everything is so valuable in Bhagavad Gita and all these books that it will guide us for a happier life, for a contented life, for a life of satisfaction, which will give light to others who are suffering, right? So all these things are very, very important. So Prabhupada actually gave us the difference between how a devotee and non-devotee feels at the time of death. In Bhagavad Gita 4.11, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam, evam yo vetti tatvatah, tyaktva deham punarjanma, naiti mameti so Arjuna. If you simply try to understand Krishna, you can go to him at the time of death. So the meaning of this verse is Janma Karma. Means what? The birth and activities of Lord. Cha me means mine. So Krishna is saying Janma Karma cha me divyam. They are transcendental. They are not this worldly activities, right? Many people say that Krishna used to steal, so he was in need of something. He used to pass remarks on the gopis, so he was like a Romeo, or he married so many ladies, so he was a womanizer and all those kinds of things, which are extremely offensive, to talk about the supreme personality of Godhead. It is extremely offensive. So they don't know. And here Krishna is directly saying in Bhagavad Gita that Janma Karma cha me divyam. These are all transcendental activities. And evam yo vetti tatvatah. Vetti means who knows. Yo means who. Tatvatah means one who knows this thing in their reality, in essence. Tyaktva deham means they leave their body. When they leave their body, tyaktva means what? Leaving. Deha means body. Punarjanma. So rebirth, naiti, it won't happen. Naiti, but what will happen? Mameti. So he will come to me. So Krishna is giving so many promises in Bhagavad Gita, so wonderful promises. Which God we have heard from that he is saying that if you will just simply know that my birth and activities are transcendental, then you, after leaving this body, you will not come back here. You will come to me. That's his promise. Who does that? Only the Almighty Supreme Lord can promise in such a way, right? So Prabhupada is saying, if you simply try to understand Krishna, you can go to him at the time of death. Everything about Krishna is divine, transcendental. Krishna's activities, appearance, even if he will move his eyes, it is transcendental. Everything about Krishna is transcendental, you know, and in this world as well. Like if we cook prasadam, offer to Krishna, it becomes transcendental. If we buy something, offer it to Krishna first, then use it, it becomes sanctified, right? So Krishna's worship, Krishna's temple, Krishna's glories, everything is transcendental. So, if one understands these things or even tries to understand, then one becomes liberated from the process of birth and death, because that's the real root cause of all the problems, that we come to this material world and we struggle here, because it's like just a condition like a fish lives in water, but if we will bring it to the ground and will give all the facilities, a nice house, a car, all kinds of ice creams, lemonade, everything, it will not survive, because it's not the element in which it lives. It is not natural for him. Similarly, we are spiritual beings, and spiritual world is our home. This material world is not our home, which we are thinking, right? Tomorrow, if like I saw this in one documentary which was related to airplane accidents. So it showed that in one accident, one man actually lost his whole family who was traveling into that airplane, and this man was at home, he was not traveling that day. So he lost the purpose of living. He was completely clueless, what should I do now? And he just used to go to the graveyard and cry out loud every day. He almost went mad, and he was in a mental hospital for a few years. So tomorrow everything can change, which we are thinking that this is mine, you know so we don't belong here. This is not our world. But then what should we do here? Then what we are doing here, after all? We are supposed to serve Krishna in every condition, in every moment. If our uh, children got good marks, let's offer it to Krishna. If we cannot claim that they got it because of their ability. Definitely the ability they have, but Krishna says, I am the ability in man, Paurusham Nrishu, right? So he is everything. If you will see around, everything is given by him, right? Therefore, how much grateful we can be to Krishna, right? So, um, so he one becomes liberated from the process of birth and death only by knowing Krishna, by understanding his activities and birth. This is what Krishna says. So, that's why Prabhupada has recommended everyone to read Krishna book before they go to the bed, to read about glories of Krishna. And everyone should have Krishna book at their home. If you don't have, you can read from Veda base, but it's really very auspicious to have Krishna book. It is about all the Krishna's activities, all stories. So this is what Krishna says. So become very serious to understand Krishna and remain in Krishna consciousness. Then these problems, birth, death, old age, and disease, will be solved automatically very easily. A dhira, a sober man. Now, who is a dhira? Yesterday we discussed. I don't get so much time to ask questions, but I just wanted to ask what is a dhira. So, dhira Prabhupada had explained that who is not perplexed at the time moment of death. He's very calm and very grave, and he perfectly knows that I'm 100% sheltered in Krishna's lotus feet, and whatever I'm leaving behind, Krishna is going to take care of everything. So that is a dhira. A sober man will think, I want to live eternally. Why does death take place? I want to live a very healthy life. Why does disease come? I don't. So these are the proper questions in life to ask. And a sober man can ask these questions. Otherwise, everyone else is running around. I don't want to become an old man. Why does old age come? Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. These are real problems. One can solve these problems simply by taking to Krishna consciousness, simply by understanding Krishna. And for understanding Krishna, the Bhagavad Gita is there, very nicely explained. So make your life successful. Understand that you are not the body. You are embodied within the body, but you are not the body. For example, a bird may be within a cage, but the cage is not the bird. Foolish persons take care of the cage, not the bird, and the bird suffers starvation. So we are suffering spiritual starvation. Therefore, nobody is happy in the material world. Spiritual starvation. That is why you see that in an opulent country like America, enough food, enough residences, enough material enjoyment, still they are becoming hippies, drug addicts. In schools, young children are opting for drugs. Very unfortunate situation. The young people are not satisfied because of spiritual starvation. Materially, you may be very opulent, but if you starve spiritually, you cannot be happy. That's wonderful and very heavy as well. So, we will stop here. If anybody has any comments or anything to share, any realization.